What is up, Serie A and Stoppage Time fans? It's your boy Cliff, and I have a very special guest today from the Calcio guys, Adreano. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, Cliff? I'm doing good, man. Not so good after today's match as a Milan fan, but it's always an interesting week in Serie A, and happy to be on chatting culture with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on. Yeah, it's been really crazy weekend to recap, which we're going to get into shortly. But first, the business end of things. We're sponsored by All UV Cast and the wonderful Striped Hearts apparel. I'm not wearing any Striped Hearts apparel today. Today I'm wearing a Venezia kit. I just got this. It is, oh man, it's so fresh, dude. I love it so much. But we're not talking about fashion today. We are going to be talking about Serie A. So I'm going to give everybody a little bit of a rundown on our matches that we had. And this is what they look like. We had Spezia beating, sadly, Venezia 1-0. We had Lazio beating Sassuolo 2-1. Salernitana losing to Torino 1-0. And on Sunday, we had Inter beating Juventus 1-0. I'm very depressed about that. We had Fiorentina beating Empoli 1-0. Atalanta losing to Napoli 3-1. Udinese smacking Cagliari in the mouth 5-1. And then Roma beating Sampdoria 1-0. And then in today's action, Verona beating Genoa 1-0. And then Milan not coming out with any victory in that one, just coming out with a point in a 0-0 draw against Bologna. So I guess since we have a Milan fan like yourself, Adriano, on the show, give us some of your thoughts first on the Milan match. I didn't watch it, but I heard there was a lot of uproar about that. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, it's been an interesting week, an interesting year. Let me say in Serie A this year. I think every cultural fan knows it. Today was no different. This weekend was no different. You as Milan, playing today on Monday after all the other games, all the other action happened. You would think that they'd be able to capitalize, but knowing Milan, it's kind of almost written in the stars that this type of thing would happen. And listen, it's been an ongoing thing with Milan. In the final third, not finishing chances, having all the opportunities, not being clinical enough in the final third, and again, it goes down to things like that. It's a shame because we'll take the point, but the 3 would have been a lot sweeter. Not being able to capitalize, like I said, is the biggest biggest thing that really, really, really stings. But again, we're still a point up on Napoli, 4 on Inter. They have that game in hand, so we'll play it by ear. But again, they got to be better. This is the business end of the season. Crucial games to come, and you know what? Every team is strong at the top, so. They'd have to take care of their own business. Unfortunately, they couldn't do that today, only getting the draw in those interesting kits, to say the least. Again, not satisfied as Milan fans, but again, we put it behind us, we go on, and there's always 7 more finals left to play.
Yeah, 100%. And give us a little bit of your insights on those kits, because you mentioned those disgusting kits. Tell us, where does that rank in some of the worst kits you've ever seen?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'll put it like that. I mean, you have the Venezia kit on tonight. It looks a lot better than what we saw on the pitch this evening or this afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I don't know. I didn't really get the concept. I don't know if many Milanians they understood it. But listen, it sold. The place was packed. For me, it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of it, if I'm being honest, as a Milan fan. But I don't know. I'm kind of maybe a bit more of a traditionalist. With the kits, but again, it's a 4th kit. We've seen teams do this. We have, Napoli in the league having like 13 kits, so it's not the end of the world, I guess. But they could have done a bit better. But again, not a big fan on my end.
Yeah, this has been a season of some of the worst kits I've ever seen. Like Juve had an awful 3rd kit. Like I hate Juve's 3rd kit. Milan's 4th kit's really bad. I hate Napoli's flaming kits. I do not like those.
Yeah.
It's been a really bad. It's weird because there's been the one side where there's been awful kits, but then you have teams like Venezia who absolutely won the season with their kits. All 4 of their kits are, in my opinion, the best. They're just baller, and that's just because Kappa, I think, is such a good brand. But you mentioned you're a point up How nervous are you about Napoli? How much do they worry you after which match we'll get into in a second, beating Atalanta 3-0 or 3-1? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, like I said earlier, all the teams at the top are top teams. They're strong teams, especially when they're hot and when everything is rolling. But again, as much as teams are so hot and teams are so strong at the top, they can show their weaknesses as well. We've seen that throughout the course of the season, and even these past couple of weeks in Serie A. So, um, I won't say I'm too worried. Listen, I was on the Raf and Raf rant, or the Napoli rant there with Raf Pizzaro, Raf Arispo a couple of weeks ago. And listen, I said it there. We said it on our podcast as well. This Scudetto race isn't over. This is going to change, fluctuate. Teams are going to drop points. It's not going to be smooth sailing until the end, maybe even the final match day or even the second to last match day. So I'm not going to say worried, but at the same time, critical on Milan because, like I said earlier, didn't capitalize. But I'm, after this season and even like last season, seeing the progression in this squad, what Pioli has done with his Milan side, you have to remain optimistic. It's not over. It's nowhere near over, again, in my opinion. But again, they're a strong team. We were able to beat them not too long ago. They got the better side of us the first time around. But again, take care of your own laundry is kind of like the motto going forward down the stretch here.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned Raf and Raf. They do a phenomenal podcast. Two of my favorite Napoli
Yeah,
fans. Very respectful. They don't get, I think, too caught up in some of the the banter and stuff that we see online and all that. I think they're very level-headed Napoli fans. I don't think,
yeah,
with everything, like when you beat a team like Atalanta, I see a lot. I'm not on social media right now, but I have my friends telling me that it's
yeah,
kind of crazy right now. Napoli fans are feeling it. They're feeling it right now, as they should. Beating
yeah.
Atalanta is a really big feat. And now, without further ado, let's get into that one. I want to give everybody a little bit of a picture, paint a picture for this match. It seemed like Napoli were just in control of this match from the onset. Early PK from Napoli, slotted away from Insigne. It was a great first play, through ball in for a running Mertens, caused the goalie to have to make a decision. He came out, Musso came out, clipped Mertens' legs. They got a PK. Insigne slotted it home. He did the kissing of the kit and all that, even though he's going to Toronto soon. So that is going to be very interesting. And I'll get your thoughts on him later because I want to know what you think about him going to Toronto. And
Sure.
Napoli, like I said, they always look dangerous in this one. The second one came from Politano, finishing a well-taken set piece. This was chipped beautifully over the wall from Insigne. It seems like they're one of the best Serie A teams in terms of set pieces. They're just always they always know what to do in certain situations. And that was in the 36th minute. Politano slotted away, easy as you like. And then the third one came in the 57th minute. The third goal that we saw was a great cross from Miranchuk across the middle. Dirun finished it away in the back right corner with his head. And then the last one that kind of put it to bed for Napoli to win this one. Lozano making a great streaking run down the sideline, gets the ball through to Elmas in the middle on a kind of behind him through ball or behind himself pass, and then Elmas finishes it really easily. Makes this a 3-1 win for Napoli. So let me get your thoughts first. How impressed were you with this win from Napoli, and how disappointed were you in Atalanta for dropping these points?
Yeah, I mean, listen, start with the Atalanta there. It's been, I don't even know how to put it, what the word is, but it's been just an interesting and awkward season for Atalanta. I mean, there's times where they show their brilliance. There's times where they fall back and they're not the same Atalanta of old. People like to say that mystique of Atalanta may be over. I don't know. I think we still do see it. They haven't been fortunate, obviously, on the injury front as well. Missing Zapata, not replacing him in the winter correctly, like with a true striker. Yes, they brought in Boga, which is a fantastic Serie A talent, but he's not your number 9, and he's not your focal point, in the attack. But yeah, I don't know. They seem to be kind of Jekyll and Hyde, in the Europa League. They look good. They've been improving in Europe. They've slipped a bit. It's a shame. I don't. Again, for them, the season's not over either to push into top 4. By any means, in my opinion, it's going to be a fight for that 4th, maybe even 3rd spot. So yeah, definitely there's a bit disappointing for Atalanta because they've kind of brought in this league some joy these past seasons. Love them or hate them, love
Mhm.
Gasperini or hate Gasperini. They brought in a different flair to Serie A, especially attacking wise these past couple of seasons. So yeah, not seeing them on form, was I guess a bit disappointing. As a neutral. But yeah, in terms of Napoli, they got the job done, right? They took care of their business. They took care of their laundry. Like I said earlier, it's going to be an ongoing thing that we're going to be saying. But they were dominant. They proved that they were able to rise up to the occasion. After the international break, some of their guys, on the Italian national team, Ali Insigne and others, after that heartbreak, turned the page and point a just a, I wouldn't say perfect match, but close to that, especially without Osimhen up there. Maybe people would have thought, okay, they're not going to score. They may be a 1-0 scrappy game. They put three past Atalanta. So and again, I'm a fan of Musso. I like Musso as a keeper. He hasn't looked the same as he has in the past in certain occasions this season, but again, he's a fine Serie A keeper. He's proven that, and Napoli was able to convert 3 times on him. So good for Insigne as well. Obviously the goal and assist there. It's I don't know. It's just like a fairy tale ending maybe for Insigne. I think if they win something or they don't at the end of the season, I think Napoli fans should definitely be happy with Insigne. I know he's gotten a lot of flack in the past, but again, I'm a fan of Insigne. Like barring the colors, barring whatever, I'm a fan of his. For the Italian national team or just as a player in general, representing the South like he does. Coming from Southern Italian descent myself, so yeah, man, it was a dominant performance for Napoli. They ticked all the boxes. The only thing that really I think aggravated and was such a shame that we're still going through this is after the match with the whole racism towards Koulibaly and Cliff. I don't want to go on and on, but I don't know if you were bringing that up, but I'm going to bring it up myself on the show
Yeah,
because
of course.
again, there's no part of that in our game on our platform, on your great platform that you guys do over here at Absoliutey. There's no need, and what you throw out the colors, in terms of the teams you support, you throw that aside. It's the human first, and these things in 2022 shouldn't be happening. But yet again, we're still here with this nonsense. So, I'm glad to see people rally around Koulibaly as they have in the past, and I hope they will in the future as well, because this is not something that's going to go away, unfortunately, overnight. But besides that negative, I think the positive was those 3 points. So they got the job done against Gasperini at Atalanta.
Yeah, 100%. I'm happy you brought that up. Like I said, I've
Yeah,
been off. I've been off social media for a hiatus right now for Lent, and
yeah,
so I didn't know what the heck was going on. I didn't see after the game what had happened. So when
yeah,
I heard somebody mention, now that you're mentioning it, like you said, no place in our society for this. No place in the game of Calcio for this, because at the end of the day,
yeah,
we're all humans. We're all people.
yeah,
Doesn't matter who you are, what you are, like whatever, however whatever it is, race,
yeah.
gender, whatever it is, it's the game of football for everyone.
Agree.
So I'm really happy you brought that up. Football is for everyone, and that should be the bottom line, no matter
Yeah,
what. And there's no place for that, like I said, in society and in our game. But Koulibaly is such an amazing figure. He is just oozes class. The man is so classy in everything he does, and he really is a national treasure for his
yeah,
country of Senegal and as well for the for Serie A. He's a great ambassador for the game. And then you mentioned Insigne on a positive note. You mentioned Insigne. He's somebody I love because I'm 5'7", he's 5'6", so I can relate to him. He's the guy who I've
there you
always
go.
looked up to, even though he plays for Napoli, because I can relate to him. I can relate to him on that level. I'm not
Yeah,
like a physical specimen, so watching him play is somebody who I've always looked up to, and I wish him all the best. I'm hoping to see him play in person because I'm trying to come up to Toronto this summer, so I'm hoping to see him. I don't know if it's going to happen because I don't know when his contract runs out and whatnot. But how excited are you to see him in around your area in Toronto?
yeah. Yeah, listen, we're not too far in Montreal here, so it's an okay drive, to get there. But I don't know, that whole move when things really became serious and official. It was, you know, again, as a neutral, I mean, I can just imagine as a Napoli fan. I mean, we have Johnny on our podcast that supports Napoli as well, and obviously it affects, especially if you're a Napoli fan or you're Napoli Adreano and you're a Napoli fan. That's kind of like a double
Yeah,
whammy because you lose your local boy and your captain of your squad and an important player. But um, in terms of, I don't even know how to say this, I guess financials and just security, down the line. This is a move that made sense.
yeah,
They Napoli wasn't going to be offering him anywhere near the money Toronto was going to offer or did offer. Sorry, um, and you know what? He's not getting any younger. Yeah, I think he's still 30, 31, maybe. I think
hmm
he's turning 31. Kind of getting in the business end of his career too. On top. Listen, I would have loved to have seen him stay at Napoli another year or two, or even just almost didn't. It almost didn't look right if Insigne wouldn't be at another club, especially in Serie A. As much as maybe some fans would love
yeah,
him on their team, I don't think he would have went to another Serie A club, and even elsewhere in Europe. Like I don't know where exactly he would fit correctly, but again, it's an interesting move, obviously, financially and for his family and future generations. I mean, it's a business move. It makes sense, and when you take
yeah. I want
your
to
emotions
interrupt
out
you.
of it, and your love for him as an individual, as a player.
Yeah.
Yeah, go. Sorry.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I also want to mention, like, obviously the financials were a huge, selling point, but also he said for his kids, he
Yeah.
wanted his kids to, try to learn another language, get to experience another culture, which was such a big part of it. He wants to set his family up financially, but also
Yeah.
he wants to let his family get to experience other things in the world. So I think that's amazing. Plus, as you know, there's a great Italian presence in Canada, especially
Yeah.
in that area. So it's really exciting for that, for the nation of Canada to get to have him. Really exciting to have him in Toronto. I think he could be there for 5 or 6 years and be like Giovinco was, such a special player for that city. But
Yeah, and listen, he's a champion. Obviously he's a Euro champion. He's been a top Serie A player for many years. Just I don't know, a beast. He's gonna tear it up in MLS. I think that's for sure, and I think he'll find himself at home. In the East Coast, as you know, Cliff, there's a lot of Italians in the East Coast. I think we rep it well out here in the East. So, yeah, if it's not Montreal, Toronto, the New York, Philly areas, he's going to find himself at home wherever he goes, especially on the East Coast, like I said. So, and I think that's something that he needs. But at the same time, like you said, Cliff, and like he had mentioned himself, to broaden his horizon, not just in those four walls and only Napoli. You have to grow and you have to experience other things as a player, as a person, and as a father and as a family man. So yeah, I'm happy for Insigne, whatever it was at the time. I was wow, man, they couldn't work it out. De Laurentiis, kind of getting all up in it. But again, when you sit back and you really analyze it, I think it obviously makes a lot of sense.
yeah, it's just it's going to be a changing of the guard for Napoli. You see that they're going towards younger talent, so you kind of see a changing in their mentality, especially if they can make a run and win the Scudetto.
Yeah,
They can keep a lot of their talent and add young talent to that already. And I think they'll give him a very proper goodbye at the end of the season, which he obviously deserves. But the next game I really want to get to,
absolutely.
Lazio against Sassuolo. This one was really interesting. I'm going to give a quick overview of this one. The first goal came from Lazzari, or Lazzari. I never remember how to pronounce his name, but he had a nice low curler into the back of the net in the 16th minute to start the scoring. And then a second perfectly timed run and a picture-perfect pass leads to a second goal in the 50th minute on a free kick. I think it was by Luis Alberto. Lasers it through the middle, and Sergei Milinkovic-Savic made a late run into the middle of the pitch and takes an awful kick. He takes an awful boot at it, but somehow finds the back of the net, which is good for him and for Lazio. And then Sassuolo tried to make a late push, but it was all too late at the end. They got it in like the 93rd minute in extra time. Like I said, it was too late 2-1 for Lazio. I think it's a little too late for Lazio to make it into the top six. For me personally, I don't think they can keep the momentum going. I still think Fiorentina has a very good shot because they're not far away from Lazio. So I think they could leapfrog up into the top six, like I said, since the beginning of the season. But I have a very strong feeling that Roma will stay there, and then it's either Atalanta or Fiorentina fight for that last spot. But give me your thoughts on this match. What were some of your initial thoughts about Sassuolo, who's a strong team, and then Lazio, who are kind of trying to hold on to stay in the top 6 or 7?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a bit disappointing for Sassuolo. I mean, they've been pretty good at capturing points against top teams this season. Many people like to joke, they're the Robin Hood of Serie A. There, taking from the top and giving it to the bottom teams. But yeah, I don't know. I still like what Dionisi is doing over there at Sassuolo. I think many fans can really appreciate what he's doing with Sassuolo after the debut. You know, Obviously he has some veteran guys as well, national team players. So it's Sassuolo. As long as this continues, they're gonna be there. In that mix. Unfortunate to come off the international break the way they did, I guess. For their fans and just as a neutral to maybe give Sassuolo, give Lazio a bit more of a game there, but what, kudos to Lazio. They come off again international break. They have time to reflect. They got able to rebound after that derby loss to Roma. They really got hammered in that one. So to come out of that, Sarri's men to come out with 3 points, I think was big. And again, I think, like you said, Cliff, it's going to be close, even in the top six. The Europa League spots, Conference League area. I think that's going to be close as well. It's going to be a fight till again the end as well. But yeah, I don't know. Again, I've said it pretty much from the beginning, from the get-go. With both Roman clubs, it's seeing the changes that's happened in Rome on both sides, in Roma and Lazio. It's going to be it's a project. This is not going to be something that is going to change overnight. These are things that are going to take time to really develop and really get the wheels turning. With Mourinho and Sarri, especially Sarri. We've seen him numerous times in Serie A, and it's not a you blink and it's it's Sarri ball. It takes some time. So again, where Lazio finishes, I don't know. I still think they have a chance to push for those for spots. But again, just good to rebound. And again, their top players, maybe minus Immobile, didn't really show up as well. Again, I think he'll get going soon. But the Luis Albertos, the SMS, Lazzari, which I love on the right hand side. He's a fantastic player. All contributing. I think it's a plus for Lazio fans. And again, like every other team pushing for Europe, it's one game at a time, and these 7 finals await them.
Yeah, 100%. And then my last question on Lazio is, do you think that they're say 3 or 4 pieces away from competing that top 6, or do you think they need to gut the whole project, sell some? Oh, somebody's excited.
Sorry,
but yeah,
that's my dog. I'm sorry.
That's
sorry.
okay, because my dog might come down here any second now and start barking.
Oh
So
my god.
it's totally okay, man. It's
My
totally
bad.
fine. That stuff happens all the time. But yeah, so like I was saying for Lazio, do you think they're 3 or 4 pieces away from really competing? And are they another season under Sarri from competing, or do you think they need to gut the project, sell all their big talents, make that big money off of them now, like Milinkovic-Savic, Luis Alberto? Well, their value is still high, or like I said, do you rebuild it with youth, or do you stick with what you have?
Wow, that's a tough question. I mean, it's unfortunate that what they've had hasn't brought them how can I say this, the best successes these years. Obviously, Coppa Italia is one thing. That's it's definitely a trophy in the trophy cabinet. But I mean, something in Europe. I mean, maybe even Scudetto. It's hard, man. It's tough. They have quality players. We've said it in seasons in the past. On paper, when everybody's on, they have one of the better lineups. In Serie A. That's shown, and my dog Billy wants to come in on the action over here. But yeah, no, I don't know. it's more if they want to stay too, because Luis Alberto too. He's been up and down with if he wants to stay, if he's going to go back to Spain. Um, it's a tough question. I would probably stick to what they have, sell other complementary pieces to really bring in some youth, because again they're so not active in the mercato. They need to a rehaul, I think, in their defense. Acerbi's not getting any younger. Obviously Luis Felipe is a big piece, but if he goes, who do you have, like, really as a concrete center back, or even two center backs? They don't even have, so or they do, but it's not top Serie A quality. So I would like them to rebuild, but not complete overhaul. Again, like I said earlier, Cliff, it's a project at Lazio. It's something that's going to take time. If Sadi is here for the long haul, that's one thing. If he's not, then management's got to make that decision and really look elsewhere. But they have some good pieces, man. They have a couple kind of Niere pretty much almost every other year in Shudo Immobile. Love him or hate him. I'm a fan. He's been a great Serie A talent for many, many years. SMS, one of the best midfielders in Serie A, maybe even Europe. Luis Alberto, I like him too, but him too, he's been going up a bit up and down, but still top quality. Zaccagni, another name. So guys, they have talent, they have pieces, but I think they need to add to what they have. Are they going to sell? I don't know if they're going to finally pull that trigger. Like, I really don't know, but I think I would hold on to majority of the pieces and kind of spend some money. if I know it's hard, and I know it's been a tough 2 years with COVID, but spend some money in where you need. A guy like Murici, not the answer. To replace a guy like Immobile. So yeah, I don't know. Just I would kind of like plug and play. In terms of positions, in terms of transfers, but I think at the core they still have somewhat of a decent lineup.
I think that's a great answer to that question. For me, I hope they got it just because I want Sergej Milinkovic-Savic on Juve. So that's me being a little bit selfish, but there's no reason why they shouldn't compete, because their core team is really talented. We all know that. They have a really quality group of midfielders. And Immobile, love him or hate him, like you said, in Serie A he produces. He doesn't produce on the national team, but he produces in Serie A, and that's all that Lazio fans care about. But yeah, I think that's probably my piece on Lazio. I hope they do well, because I think the league is better when the teams in Roma are doing well. I think the league is good as a whole. It's good for the league. It's good for the brand of Italian soccer. So the last match that we have to get into, it hurts my heart to talk about this, but Inter beat Juventus 1-0. So first of all, I want to get your first impression. The one play that caused all of this was the penalty call. First of all, was it a penalty? Because I do believe it was light, but that's by the letter of the law. He stepped on his foot. That's a penalty. What do you think?
I don't know, Cliff. You're gonna get me in trouble on your show, on your platform. Coming in as the Milan fan here. Obviously, I'm gonna say it's a penalty, but no. Joking aside, Cliff. Soft, yeah. Has that been called in the past in Serie A? Yes. Has that not been called in Serie A for something like that or worse? Yes. And for me, that's the issue. Forget if it's a penalty or if it's not a penalty. VAR being used, VAR not being used. And Cliff, I don't know how much of us you listen to, but there's been times where I've really, cursed out VAR, and I haven't been a big fan of VAR. And again, I'm not going to rant on your show. That's not my place. But I've seen the improvement with VAR, and I've seen the improvement with the officiating. But then there's times like the weekend, we saw the time Inter Torino. Ranocchia takes Belotti down. Nothing. We can go on and on. We can have a whole separate podcast with all Calcio Twitter talking about what was called here, what wasn't called there, VAR, no VAR, officiating, screw that and whatever. But I don't know. I think, he touches him. Yeah, he gets him. The players now are trained to go down on any type of contact, especially in the box, especially in a match like this. I mean, it almost seems like you'd be foolish not to go down, even though I don't agree with that. But, it's one of those things. It's kind of those bang, bang plays. now even too, like it was close to the out, like to like on the line too. So I'm going to agree with you there. I think it is soft, but it is a pen. But again, forget that. I think Juve has to be better as a whole. And then on top of it, already, is it a penalty or if it's not a penalty? Should it have been retaken or should it have not been retaken as a whole
I
other
think that's the
can of
big issue.
worms? I don't know if you're getting into that.
So I love the idea that you said we could have a whole other show. I think I might have a whole other show just talking about VAR. Maybe we'll do that. We'll get people from all
For sure.
different teams and talk about VAR.
For sure.
Because I think the issue is, I think VAR is a great idea. I think getting the calls right is an amazing idea, and the fact that we're using our technology to do that is amazing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more the fact that the inconsistencies with the calls. I think the call was fine. What my problem was actually the replay of the penalty, because there are many, many times players step in the box early and they don't call it. Yet it was all of a sudden now they recall it back after Chesney saved it. So that's my problem, is that they retook the penalty when there's been plenty of times this season I see people step in the box early and they don't call it. So now all of a sudden they're being more eagle-eyed about it. That's what I don't
Yeah.
like. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But you're right.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to rely on a call from the ref to save you in a match. Juve should have won this match, in my opinion. They were the clear aggressors. They were the clear attackers. They were dominating play, in my opinion, most of the match until Locatelli came out. Then there was a little bit of a step back from the team. It seemed like they went into a little bit of a lull. And then Zakaria found his footing, and then the team started getting back into it. But then near the end of the match, they started being stagnant again. So Juve should have capitalized on the strong first half, and Chiellini, God knows what he was doing. He was in front of goal. Somehow he wasn't able to tip the ball into the net. It hit the bar, didn't go in. And then there were plenty of times we were in the opponent's third and we just aren't clinical. That is the key thing for Juventus. They're never clinical when they need to be. They do all the work in the world and then they're not finishing. I will say, though, this was a very, very physical game from the beginning. Loca got kicked in the face from Lautaro, which was a yellow card. I think that's fine. I don't think it should have been a red because it's the first foul of the game. Like, that was a yellow. So I don't think you want to set a precedent that that's going to be the first red of the game, because that's a dangerous precedent to set, because then the whole game is on eggshells. You don't know who's going to get a yellow or a red from the next call. So I think the yellow was fine. I think there were a lot of questionable calls in between and no calls because Vlahovic was getting destroyed most of the game. Skriniar, there were many times that Skriniar went up and Vlahovic were going up for a ball, and he clearly was not playing the ball. He was going elbow first into his back and was not playing the ball. So that's another thing, the inconsistencies with the refs. And I'll say it to the Calcio come home. Like you said, we could talk about this all night, which I don't want to do because I don't want to take away from the match, because
Yeah.
I think the match overall from Juve was a good match. Inter were playing a little bit on the back foot most of the match, and I think we're a little bit fortunate with their penalty that Juve basically gifted to them. But I don't like the whole idea that people say it was a robbery and this and that. I don't think it was a robbery because Juve could have done better in this one. They could have at least pulled out a draw. So I think they did no favors. But it's unfortunate to see that that's the headline. I think you and me both hate to see, Adriano, that the consistent things we see every weekend is there's always some sort of call that everybody's disagreeing about. So
Absolutely.
I would like to talk about the match. I'd like to talk about football. I don't want to talk about calls. I just want to talk about the matches. So to the game overall, what did you think about the game overall? Was it a quality game? Do you think there was too much touch and go on the fouls? What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know if it really lived up to the typical Derby d'Italia, hype. I think there's been definitely better quality, Derby d'Italias in the past. Love the physicality in a derby. I mean, I think it wouldn't be a derby without the physicality. So me, I have no problem with things like that. If you're gonna let them play, let them play. I think fans can appreciate that a bit more than either one-sided or not calling anything or what have you. Kind of not being in the dark with these calls. But going back to even just the Locatelli thing, I think that's, I don't know. For me, that was a dangerous play. I mean, we've seen, like, that reminded me of stuff like from early 2000s, or 2010s, that era. But again, it's a derby. I'm okay with that physicality. You don't really see that to that degree all the time in Serie A. But in terms of the match, yeah, like I said, I didn't think it lived up to that typical Derby d'Italia hype. I think I had predicted a draw, obviously, before the game. I think that was kind of where I was leaning, seeing, recent form, seeing, how things are going for both teams, coming off the international break. But then again, you look back and it's like form goes out the window in the derby, Cliff. All these things go out the
Yep.
window. It's all on the pitch. So then, but again, I still thought a draw would have been, I think beneficial. I guess
Yeah.
I'm a bit maybe biased speaking as a Milan fan, but again, I think for all that Juve was doing, not to get a goal, not to get something, it's a bit disappointing. If you guys as Juve fans, I have our other co-host Nick, that's a Juve fan. Again, we can blame like you said, Cliff, we can blame the rest all we want. We can do all this VAR, whatever, but at the same time, you have to look at yourself and say, listen, we did all this, but we didn't put no ball in the back of the net. We didn't get no 3 points. We go home with 0. So at the end of it, you have to look at yourself and say, it's us that didn't do it. I
Yeah.
think they could have been obviously more clinical. Vlahovic, yeah, listen, it's that one game. He can't be the only savior for Juventus. I said it when he came. Many fans were like, "Oh yeah, he's gonna bring us to the promised land." Guys, take it easy. Like it's gonna come. I think Vlahovic is obviously a fantastic talent. I think every team would love to have him, but you can't expect him to do everything by himself and be the hero week in and week out. Should they have scored and could they have scored? Yeah, maybe. Zakaria hit the post too late in the match. I think 70th
Yep.
minute. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, again, like you said, and like I said with Milan, just not clinical in the final third. You produce. There's no quality in the final third. And for Inter, I mean, listen, Inter have been going up and down. We've seen it too. They haven't been perfect at the beginning, up until maybe a couple weeks ago. It looked like there was no chink in their armor. There was
Yep.
nothing. They were solid. No injuries. Nothing. They dipped a bit. Obviously, they pick up a big 3 points this weekend. So again, guys, like I said, it's not over in terms of Scudetto. Again, I thought it would have been a better match if I'm perfectly honest. And again, I don't want to sound like, oh, he comes on the Milan fan and says, this about Juve or Inter. No, guys, I don't think it was just a quality match. What many fans probably would have expected, prior. I know the atmosphere was, obviously packed, and it
Yep.
was, we saw it, right? I mean, you're fortunate enough there with CBS to catch all that. Marco and the guys at FTV and the
Yep.
crew over there doing fantastic work in the States. So, but yeah, in terms of that, I mean, Dybala is probably going to be his last
Yep.
Derby d'Italia. Maybe not. Maybe he goes to Inter and he has it again. I don't know, but we'll see.
Why do you
Cliff,
come
I
on
don't
my
know.
show and say
I don't
that,
know.
man?
I'm sorry. I listen. I don't want him to go to Inter either, but I think he's probably best suited for La Liga. I know if we're going a bit off topic here, but
Yeah.
it's just if you're speaking as a Juve fan, I think it's unfortunate. They are still pushing, right?
Yeah.
For top 4. They're right there. They could have gone up into third if they would have gotten those 3 points, if I'm not mistaken. So it's
Yep.
unfortunate. Inter maybe got lucky. If you want to say that, sure. But again, they have quality players as well. We can't hide behind that fact.
Yeah.
About their quality and their players. But again, they have weaknesses too, and it showed. It took replayed penalty in the
Yeah.
derby to pick up 3 points against a tough competitor in Juve. So if you break it down that way, it doesn't sound so bad. But at the end of it, this is the business end of the season. You want to pick up as many points as you can, and coming out with 0. I mean, Cliff, you probably know better than me. It's not too pleasant.
No, it is not pleasant at all. But I would say a great piece of advice that I was given one time, and maybe it doesn't apply to this match, but I was given it from a legend in baseball, at least from a manager perspective, Bobby Valentine. He told me sometimes, kids, you got to be good at getting lucky. And Inter were good at getting lucky in that match. Sometimes you have to get a little bit of luck to win in life and in matches.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's not like he was trying to say that sometimes if you keep working hard, you're going to be better at getting lucky. Inter really didn't do that because I think Juventus did the majority of the work in the match, but to the same degree, they were good at getting lucky, and they got lucky in this one. I want to make one more point on this match, and you could probably speak to this as well. I think this is a Serie A problem. Near the end of the match, Juve were trying to push to get that goal, and Vlahovic was falling all over the place. De Ligt was in the box. He got swiped with someone's hand, and he went down like a sack of potatoes. I think we have a serious problem with, I think this is obviously in world football too, a lot of diving. Do you think there should be more cards given out for simulation?
It's an interesting question. I mean, if that would have been the case, I think we should have been doing this, 5, 6, 7 years ago, Cliff. It's if not more. It's terrible. It's a bad look. It's about, not only is it a bad look on Serie A, it's a bad look on football, on culture, on soccer, whatever you want to call it. It's a bad look. Um, you know, there is contact in culture. Yes, it's not, NFL type, contact. It's not rugby type contact. It's not MMA. This is not UFC, guys. But at the same time, there is contact to be had. And when you get, barely touched and clearly flop, I mean, we've seen it time and time again, Cliff. Again, we can put this on the show with the VAR if you want, but this is something that's, I don't know. I don't even know if giving cards for simulation is going to solve the issue. Like, I really don't. Like, I mean, I think these players are just,
Yeah.
it's ingrained in these players. Like,
It's really frustrating though.
from
I don't know how you grew
time.
up, but I
Go
know
on.
that I grew up not learning how to do this. I didn't grow up playing Calcio like this. I was never taught to go down easily. I was always taught to fight through contact and play through it. And a great example was Barella on one play was getting tackled by like Rabiot and one of the players, and he he's like falling over himself running through the plays. And I'm like, that is what I love to see. Grinta. I like to see that player grinding and not going down easily. If it's like 3 or 4 guys come at you and then finally a guy clips you, then you go down, fine. But if it's after one little swipe of the hand and you go down like somebody just like sliced your head off, then that's not acceptable to me. I think you have to at least fight through it. And then if there's a lot of contact and you're feeling some pain, then you go down. But I think it's just ridiculous. Sorry to interrupt you, but what do you think on that?
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, listen, listen, I'm 25, so I wasn't in there in the heyday of Calcio, let's say, but I saw quite a bit as well, and even just in the early 2000s, or mid 2000s, seeing those types of players play the game that we love. You think Gattuso's there flopping around like a fish out of water? I don't think so. Those are guys I looked up to. Those are Gattuso, like one of the my favorite players growing up. Alongside other players. So it's unfortunate. Again, it seems like to be this new generation. Maybe I don't know, Cliff. I don't have the answer. And I don't, like I said, I don't know if giving the cards is going to even stop the problem, because I still think it's going to happen. I honestly do. Should they give it a bit more than what they are? Maybe. I can see that. I can probably agree on that. And is there a difference between a tactical foul and not? Absolutely. Is it there to go down in the box like we were talking about earlier? You're in the box and there is that contact, but it's the soft contact, but you're going to go down because you're going to get that penalty. So, yeah, there's a bit of a mind game. There's a bit more to it than just dropping like a sack of potatoes. But, again, it's like I said, when you asked the question there, it's a bad look on all fronts. I think players, should look at that Barella tape over and over again, because Barella Chiellini was on him. Rabiot, he got hit by this guy. He went through, I don't even know who else, the Zakaria, I don't even remember who was on the pitch, but whoever it was, he got it. And he ends up making an outlet pass forward. So, you know what? You tip your hat off to something like that. Should we expect it always to be like that? Absolutely not. This is still football that we know that this is not how it's going to be. But, I don't know. Simulation, it seems like it's not even called very often. At least I don't see it. I don't know if you do.
Yeah, I don't. I've only seen it called this season maybe 2 or 3 times.
If that, yeah.
And the thing is, I don't know if we'll get to this point, but I could see them maybe at some point implementing it with VAR and taking a look back at simulate. I doubt it. Just it would have to get to a really egregious level before they try it with VAR, because they're taking a lot of time out of the game to check the VAR. So I'm not sure if they would do it for something like that, considering how often it happens. So I just don't think we'll get to a point where they check that, unfortunately. But I think they need to make refs more aware of that and urge them more to give out a card. And that's just my opinion. But Juve come out with a loss, 1-0 to Inter. I don't want to talk about that too much more. I'm going to get very frustrated. But that was really great insight from you, Adriano. And now we get to my favorite segment of the show, buy or sell. I'm going to give you a few names of players, and you tell me based on their form, would you buy or sell them? You as a person, not as like Milan or anything, but just you in particular. First, our boy, Lorenzo Insigne, would you buy or sell him?
Listen, this is a tough one because I said I love him as a player, but for me, it's you have to build towards the future. He is a bit of he's still in his quote unquote prime. He's kind of at the business end of that prime, if you will. I think he turns 31, like I said, in the beginning of June, like myself. So I'm gonna say sell, just for the fact that you can make a buck on him. You can plan for the future. I would be doing pretty much what Napoli is doing, but getting a profit for selling him because, yeah, he's a local homegrown guy, and I know I'm not supposed to act as Napoli or act as whatever, but just even as just myself, I mean, my heart says, keep. But if whatever is going up there in that brain of mine is working, I think I'll have to say so.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna be the guy who thinks with my heart, and I'm gonna say bye just because I love Insigne. He's like I told you, I mirror my game after the type of player he is. And I am Avellinese. I'm from that region. I'm from the south. Which everybody's gonna kill me because I'm a Juventus fan, but I'm from the south. And I relate to him so much, so I would buy him, thinking with my heart instead of my mind. Next one, Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Buy or sell?
Sell.
Really?
For free, I would even give him, like the Milan did. I don't care. Free. It's okay. No problem.
Okay.
I'm gonna. Yeah. No other comment, Cliff. If I start getting into what I really have to say, we're gonna have to get off air, Cliff. It's not PG-13.
Well, we'll talk about him a little bit more off air. We'll talk more off air. But for me, I'm actually gonna agree sell only because I think his ceiling is only playing well when he's on a really good team, like when he's surrounded by really good talent to complement him. Like I think he was one of the top players, quote unquote, on Milan at the time when he was with them. He wasn't like an additional piece. He was one of the guys that you kind of counted on. But I think with Inter, he's kind of in the back burner. People don't think of him as much as you think about Dzeko, Lautaro, Barella, players like that. So he can kind of sneak under the radar and play really well for them and complement that team well. But I'm going to say sell because I don't think he's as good as Inter are making him seem right now. I think it's a little bit of a fluke. But next guy is a Juventus player. Came on at halftime, or he came a little bit before halftime. Zakaria. What do you think of him? Buy or sell?
It's a tough one. I'm gonna go buy. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's under 30. So for me, he still has some years in him.
I believe he's 24 or 25. He's young. He's like our age. Ridiculous.
Is that right? Okay, sorry. I thought he was like 27, 28. But nevertheless, he's under 30. So for me, looking at that business side of things, I'm going to say buy. I don't think he's, the sole piece of the puzzle. I think he is more of a complementary piece. But to be able to be a competitive team in Calcio, in football, soccer, it's won and lost in the midfield for me. So, again, he's not the home run hitter, SMS, Pogba, type of player, but as a complementary piece, still young, still has time to give something to the team, whatever team that may be. We're playing Monday morning quarterback over here, but we're armchair GM here. But yeah, I'm gonna say buy. I'm gonna say buy just on those factors, and pains me to say because he's on Juventus. But jokes aside, I'll buy.
I love it that we got a Milan fan to say he wants Zakaria. Well, I will say I'm a little bit biased, so I'm gonna say Zakaria. but also because he is 25
Yeah,
actually. I double checked that. So he's like around our age, which is
good.
crazy. Still a lot of potential. I don't think he's going to be, like you said, that world-class midfielder, but I think he's a tier down where I think he's still in that top tier of midfielders who can still be a really, really, really good player to add to a team. He could play center defensive mid or I guess regista as we like to call it, which I don't
Hmm.
think he's really a regista, but people like to say the CDM is a regista, but I don't think he's that player. So
Yeah,
long story short, he's a CDM, a CM. He can play both positions, a pure box to box, or play as a sit back CDM. I love his versatility. I think he's really got good pace to him, really good defender, really good passer too, really good going forward. He's an underrated player going forward. So I would buy him because he's young, still a lot of potential. Putting him on a quality team, I think he could produce a lot. Next player, I think you'll know my answer, but Ciro Immobile, buy or sell. Not Azzurri, Ciro Immobile. I guess we have to say that. Serie A, Ciro Immobile.
sure. Ah, now I have to go on the same path as I don't know. Now I feel like I should have changed my answer for Insigne because I didn't know you were coming out. I didn't know you were coming with Immobile, but um, again, I'm gonna say sell, but I want to say buy. But since I went on the same path as I did with Insigne, and guys, anybody listening to this, please, it's not against Napolitani, it's not against Lazio players or whatever Immobile. I love Immobile. Listen to our show, the Calcio guys. I've praised them many many times, Insigne included. Um, just based on the fact, pretty much what I said for Insigne, I think sell. Um, but again, I would for me it would be a bit harder to say to really say sell because I think he still has a lot to offer. I know again he is 30 plus. I understand that, but this is a guy that pretty much assures you 15, 20 plus goals a season in
Yeah.
Serie A, and that's hard to come by. From just and any other striker that you bring in. Maybe you have that fluke luck like Tammy Abraham, but Cheeto has been 20 plus for seasons on end. I don't know if it's 6, 7. I don't know how many he's going on, but in a row. So it's a tough one, really a tough one to say sell. Like I said, I'm just going to base that off from what I said with Insigne, but a guy that, like I said, can assure you goals. He's going to probably be up there in the Capo Cannoniere race. He's a Scarpa d'Oro winner, tying the league record for most goals in a season with 36. It's a really hard thing to say, but again, he's getting up there in age. If you're not going to sell him now, you're not going to sell him pretty much ever. So I'll say sell for now.
Well, a great thing that you said was he did it. He did break the record, or no, he tied the
Well,
record.
tied.
But he did. He didn't do it currently. So this is current form. So I'm happy you said sell. So based on his current form, I think you have to consider his age. I think as he's aged, he's starting to become more of a one-dimensional player. He can't do as much as he used to do when he was younger. I think he's becoming more of a poacher type player who doesn't really do well. He's never been a back to defender type striker who can pull the ball in and create for himself. He always needs somebody feeding him the ball. I think he's very one dimensional. You can't put him in any system. He needs to be in one system where he's the main guy. So I'm gonna say sell. Napolitani, don't come after me. I'm sorry, but I think you just have to take everything into consideration. So I would say sell just because you want a player who can do kind of everything and you can put in any system. And I don't think Cheeto right now in his career is that guy. So I'll leave it at that. Junior Traore is my next guy. A little bit off the radar. What do you think? Would you buy or sell him right now?
Buy, absolutely. For Sassuolo, right? We're talking Junior Traore.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Yeah, buy for sure. Young, Serie A experience, even though it's a small sample size, it's still Serie A experience on a left side of the table team. That's the top 10 type of team. Even if they flirt between 10, 11, 12, they've pushed to 8 in these past seasons. And they can do that again, I think, potentially.
Okay.
Maybe in this
100%.
season. So, young player, quality, talented. Pretty much checks a lot of the boxes for me, Cliff. I don't know. I like these. I like these Sassuolo players. I like a lot of these young talents in Serie A. I'm a fan of, Italian or not. I think Traore is again. I don't even know how to word this, but I don't want to say going in the footsteps of Boga, but if he can
No,
do
no, no.
anything,
Say that. Please say that because you'll make my point.
okay. So for you, I'll say it, but I don't want to say it just because I don't want to put no pressure on him. But if you
Yeah.
can do half the things that Boga was able to do, even though it wasn't anything extravagant, but just quality for a team like Sassuolo, if I'm buying players, that's my role, I would buy him. He's good for the now. He's good for the future. He's good for whenever. He's again. I don't think he's a perfect player by no means. I think there is still things to work on him as a player. Yeah, every so often we see his strokes of brilliance, but at times he goes missing on that team. But again, I think there's something to work with a guy like Traore, and if he can do, like I said, if he can do half the things that those Sassuolo players can do, I think he has a long career ahead of him. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a fan, so I'm gonna say bye for sure.
Well, Adriano, I love that you said that because what I was going to say is not that he's following in the footsteps of Boga, but more so that this is where Boga was 3 years ago. I think he's at the stage of his
Yeah,
career where Boga was 3 years ago, where he was emerging as a really talented winger, and people were starting to take notice. And I think that's Traore is the same type of player in terms of being very quick at the ball at his feet, and I think he's a little bit pacier actually than Boga. He's got a little bit more pace to him than Boga did when he was younger. And he's really quick with his feet, really good dribbler, good finisher too. He could actually become a better finisher, I think, than Boga if he keeps the trajectory that
yeah,
he's at. And that's why I don't want to say they're the same player, but they're very similar in what they do. And he's what Boga was a couple seasons ago. So I'm going to say bye. I think he's super talented. And I actually think the way his trajectory is going right now, I could see him ending at Roma. I think being a Roma player next, I think I could see him making a transfer there and being maybe their new left winger, and pairing him with the likes of a Tammy Abraham. And if they can keep Zaniolo on the right, I think that could be a really, really dangerous front three.
Pellegrini
So that's
too, right?
yeah,
Pellegrini, but for me again, Cliff, with these young players, like don't bite the bullet, don't rush it. Like we've
yeah,
seen
of
it.
course,
You know what I mean? Like, and again, I don't want to bring up Bernardeschi, Juve, Fiorentina. I don't want to do that, but that's and again, and it's not to poke fun or anything like that, but that is like a
yeah,
perfect example in recent times. Love him or hate
yeah,
him, you can love him to death
yeah,
as Juventus player. That's fine, but I don't know. Maybe things could have been different if he would have stayed that extra year and a half. We don't know. But again, Traore, fantastic player. Maybe he's like more like a Chiesa that can emerge from the get
yeah,
go. I don't know. But again, with our talents in Serie A, let them grow, let them
yeah,
experience. Don't make that jump too early because we don't want to lose you as a talent for our top clubs, for our league as a whole. For even our mid-table clubs. So again, I'm sorry going off topic there, but Boga for me definitely is a buy, no matter what.
No, that's okay. I love it. I love that. I love that that sentiment of not wanting the young players to kind of don't buy in, don't like hear the noise, don't let all these people influence you too early.
Yeah,
Make the decision when you think you're ready and talk to the team, and hopefully the teams don't sell him too soon. I think he's 2 seasons away from a big move. I think finish the
yeah,
season, and then after next season, then you start looking at making the big move to a bigger club, because I would love to see him in one of those teams. I think he'll be more mature by then. Um, and I love him. Buy for me, 100%. Last player, Luis Muriel. A little bit of a wild card. Would you buy or sell him right now?
if you would have told me this, Cliff, a couple of seasons ago, I would have said buy in a heartbeat. I'm going to say sell. Um, again, love him as a player. Uh, I've always loved him as a player in Serie A. He we've always said this on our show. His home is Serie A. His home is Italy. Yes, he's Colombian, but he's done his best work in Italy. From
Mhm.
Udinese days up until today with Atalanta. So super sub of dreams, like we've seen many, many times. We saw it with Fiorentina also in the past couple of seasons, in the past, sorry. But again, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sticking with that rule, Cliff. I'm sorry. 30 plus
I think that's a
has
good
something
rule.
has something still to offer. Don't get me wrong. Same with
Yeah.
Immobile, same with Insigne. I said it. But if I'm thinking a bit more for again for the future, um, I'm going to say Sal. He kind of has dipped off a bit on form.
Yeah.
Granted injury, granted, you know, not the best season, I guess you can say, from Atalanta, maybe, or stretches in the season for them. But
Yep.
he hasn't been the same player, and I don't know if. And listen, I hope if he does go to another Serie A club, I hope he does amazing. But if I'm the one making these decisions again, I'm going to say sell, and it's going to be hard again to let a guy like that go because he brings that experience like those other players that we said 30 plus. He brings that flair and that super sub ability. He can score late. He can score when you bring him on. He doesn't need many touches on the ball. He can put it behind the net, but in the back of the net. Sorry, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with my rule tonight. I don't know why I picked this rule, but for me, I'm gonna say sell and I part ways with Muriel.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. And I'm gonna have to go sell just because I think you're right, just based on form. Because this game is basically like a stocks game. What's hot in the market right now? And currently Muriel is not the hottest thing in the market. He's downtrending right now, at least a little bit. I think he'll find his form though, but I would sell. But that's just about it for our show.
I got one for
Adriano,
you, Cliff. Cliff, I got one for you.
okay.
Chesney,
Oh God, he's bringing out the Juve players. Okay, all right.
Chesney,
Wojciech Chesney.
buy or sell?
I'd sell. I'd sell
Sell.
right now. I don't think he is the top level keeper that Juventus need anymore. He has been a great player for this club, and I thank him so much for everything. But if I were to make this decision or buy or sell, I would sell, and I would go get a top keeper. Because look what Milan did. They parted ways with their guy who they thought was their guy. And they have a guy now in Magnan who's been phenomenal. And he's outperformed Donnarumma right now. So, I mean, just shows that sometimes you have to bite the bullet and just make a business decision. You can't think with your heart all the time like I like to do. That's why I'm not a general manager or anything. But sometimes you have to make these decisions. And I think Chesney, if I were to make the decision, it would be a sell. But he's still a good player, still a solid player. Could play on many teams in Serie A. But I love
I
it.
agree.
Adriano, I love that you asked me the question.
I had to slide that in because it seems like there's been times this season where, and I know, I listen. I'm a Milan fan. I'm coming on the Juve cast here on the stoppage time on the Juve platform, so I had to talk more Juve with you. It's only fair.
I love it.
But no, listen. I agree with you there. And there's been times this season, like I said, I think there was times where you could have brought him to the airport at parts this season yourself, and you would have been fine with it. Then there's other times
Yep.
this season where he kind of saved Juve and
Yeah.
made better saves and made a better impact for the club. But again, I think there's not that there's an abundance of keepers out there, but just if you want to look in Serie A, you can find. If you want to look abroad, you can find as well. So maybe they go with the Italian route, back like they did with Buffon. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm agreeing. I agree with you there. I think it's a sell. And I'm glad you answered the question. No hesitation there.
No. I'm not one to hesitate. I usually try to make up my mind. I try not to think too much with my heart. I try to make a decision. But I love that you asked that question
Beautiful.
that ended up. So yeah, that's gonna be it for our show. I want to thank you, Adriano. I can't pronounce your name for the life of me. I don't know why.
It's okay. No problem.
Adriano. Because I
Adriano,
keep
sì.
trying to say French, like Adrien Mario.
No.
But
It's Italian. It's Italian.
yeah,
Adriano.
Adriano. But yes, and thank you so much to the Calcio cast for having Adriano join us today. Thank you so much, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. You guys can find him on Calcio, the Calcio guys. You guys are on. Tell us all about it. It's on YouTube and stuff, right?
Yeah, so listen, Cliff, I want to thank you. Never mind you thanking me. I want to thank you for reaching out, to do this. I know it was a bit last minute, and sorry for maybe a bit of the delay to come on, but I'm glad we made it work. I'm glad we were able to chat Calcio. Milan fan, Juve fan, Napoli fan, Roma fan, Inter fan. It doesn't matter, guys. It's the beautiful game that counts. It's culture that counts, and putting culture on the map, I think, where it deserves, especially for this English community. That there's a lot of us out there. So any type of content is good content for me, as long as it's positive. So again, I want to thank you for having myself on and just thinking of us, the culture guys, to come on this great show. We have to return the favor and have you on sometime soon. We've had some of your guys there at all you
Yeah.
cast. Obviously Lucci's our boy, but we've had Al, we've had Lex, Joe, other guys. So I'm gonna have to have you on soon. But the pleasure, it was a pleasure to do this, honestly, and I thank you so much. So yeah, where you can find us, guys, it's at the Culture Guys. We're just a weekly Serie A show. We catch us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We do post some YouTube clips as well. We do go live on YouTube every now and then as well for special episodes and stuff like that. And yeah, our podcast is anywhere you listen to your podcast, guys. You can find the Culture Guys. And yeah, just continue. If you want to support us, you support us. If you want to support all Juve cast, you do so as well. But again, if it's positive content for the cultural community, I think it's good to broaden your horizons and to have a listen to all the great content creators out there. And again, that's not putting us above anybody, but we're just three regular guys, shooting the shit, chatting culture. We've said it since day one, and again, follow us, like I said, at the Culture Guys, and catch our podcast on all your favorite podcasting platforms.
Awesome. I think it's a great positive message to end the show with. Just keep the positivity up, guys.
Always.
Grazie
Always.
tutti. Everybody
Ciao,
have a
guys.
great night. This will be out tomorrow. Everybody have a good
Beautiful.
one.
Ciao,
See ya.
guys.